6:20.
Executive session, 6:20 p.m. Yes. Good.
Here, going into executive session for discussion of personnel matters, pending litigation, collective bargaining, matters of real estate, employment, and compensation if needed.
February 17, 2015. Burgess.
Here.
Morton.
Here.
Myers.
Here.
Poskin.
Here.
Washington.
Here.
Williams.
Right, for the record, the mayor and village clerk are present, and
Trustee Williams is absent.
trustee Williams is absent.
Okay.
Okay. I know a couple things that people want to talk about. I know last week they asked for to talk about the Pfefferman deal. Okay, so I can tell you what we have on this so far. There's not a lot of information to give the board this time. I can tell you that there's something that Mr. Pfefferman did that raised a question, and it was passed over to the state's attorney's office. The state's attorney's office is doing their investigation, and what had happened was we were told that the investigation was all done. Their findings were passed off to a supervisor or somewhere to sign off on.
Come in.
I don't think there he goes.
You just say, who was it turned to?
We'll turn over to the state's attorney's office.
Okay.
And Mike's here, and he can.
Okay, now you can close that door.
Anything else I can do for you guys?
Sure. Well, we always left it open for you, Mike. You're here now.
Coffee,
Yeah, you didn't bring coffee.
2 sugars.
So we're talking a little bit about the Pfefferman deal, and what had happened is we'll go back to what we started off. Mr. Pfefferman did something that was in question. It was turned over to the state's attorney's office. The state's attorney's office was doing an investigation. We were under the impression that the investigation was over and that the findings were on some supervisor's desk or something to be signed off on. With the new governor coming in and people not getting their positions are being removed, people are being switched around. The final signing off on that was never signed off on, and we never received the final ruling or what their findings were. So that's one reason why, if I'm getting this right, the attorneys recommended that we table it again until we get that final. Because again, I guess there's questions if it was wrong, if it wasn't wrong, but we just want to make sure before we go into an agreement with Mr. Pfefferman that, especially something that's under investigation, we want to know for sure if it was wrong. If it was wrong, we won't go into an agreement with him. If it wasn't, it would be back before the board to vote on. But again, we might hear from the state's attorney's office.
Question. Now, which building are we talking about? Are we talking about the present building that there's a daycare in? Are we talking about the old plaza that went bankrupt and upside down?
No, what was before the village was the daycare center.
By the library?
No.
No.
That one? Not that one? Which one is it?
The Mother Goose one, right?
The Mother.
The one that's where the library, the daycare is at now.
Or if you guys remember where Old Bonnie's used to be.
That's where I meant, over by the old library.
All right.
Yeah,
But it's not
10 Surreyburg Plaza. Where Bonnie's used to be.
I don't know that.
You redate me. You predate me.
Okay.
Bonnie's
So-
is over there at the end,
By the old
You know
library.
where the post office is? It's just a little
The big building on the
It wasn't called.
west side.
Yeah, it's way on the end there by the field.
It's not
I
connected.
know
not
which one it
connected.
is now.
Right.
So he's asking for that particular building,
Correct. He's asking for a Class 8.
so it's
bring
not
in-
for the other plaza with the cleaners and the
He
post
doesn't know
office.
no.
Isn't on that.
Right, it's been banked up underneath. I don't know what they're gonna do with it.
Right.
Okay, so,
And I can assure you that there is, if we get the ruling and they say there is any wrongdoing, it won't come back to the village board. I won't put it back on the table. But if they come back and say there was no wrongdoing after they did their investigation, they won't bring it back to the village board. But at this time, we're not saying what happened, what it did, because it's under investigation, and the state's attorney's office has it.
well, I know the state fire marshal and myself, we walked with the fire code and stuff, and the state had a problem with one of the, I don't know if it was one of the workers there or not, and the family services got involved in one thing. But we won't require, the fire department won't allow them to open in case they have up-to-date state
Certainly.
license signed off by the state fire marshal and signed off
Plenty
by
of
the
those.
family services.
Right.
So The building, I haven't been in now since last April, but the building was holding its on there at that time. He had, I think there was seven minor code, and well, there's a sprinkler problem, but he corrected that and the roof and stuff. And Fred and I both went up on that one. So Fred, just in case Mike don't know, Fred's our building inspector in town. So.
Again, I don't know how much we can answer. If you have any questions, we'll try to answer. If we can't, we'll be very honest with you. So we cannot answer that.
Well, it's up to the
State's attorney.
whoever, until they get the paperwork to sign off. I gotta get signed off.
Hopefully it comes sooner than later, you know, because he was looking for a tax incentive, and it's viewed if he did something illegal or not. They looked into it. It's supposed to be on the supervisor's desk. I can tell you, Mr. Pfefferman calls my office all the time.
No,
He comes up to me at the meetings. He's like, "What's going on?" I thought it was going to be approved. What's going on? I'm like, "Going, have your attorney call the state attorney's office." And so
That's probably good.
that's what I told him 3 weeks ago. And then at the last meeting, he's like, "Did you hear anything?" I'm like, "No, I told you have your attorney call." Because I've called the state attorney's office a bunch of times, and they're saying it's just got to be signed off on.
Right.
Whatever that means, I don't know. So then this afternoon, I got a call from another attorney at Jensen, you know, as a better-known criminal defense attorney. You see him in federal court a lot, and he's at 26 in California every day. You know, he's got a cane. He's an older guy. So he said that at the last meeting, Mr. Pfefferman said, "I'll have my attorney at Jensen call you. You take his call." I'm going, "Sure, have him call me, whatever." So then Pfefferman called me 2 days later saying that Jensen said to call you, saying that if you call the state attorney's office, they're not going to tell you anything, so what's the sense, and can we approve it? I'm like, no, that's not how it goes. So then this Jensen actually calls me late this afternoon and said, "You know what, I got this Pfefferman guy, I never met him, I don't know who he is, I haven't charged him anything, I'm just calling because I said I would call you, I don't know anything about it." He's like, "I'll try to get a hold of the state attorney's office and see." So,
Oh, okay.
all right.
So we don't know really if it's on him or if it's on the tenants, or it could be everybody.
Oh, it's nothing to do with the tenants.
Oh, okay.
I do have a couple of questions. We went down this road before when we went to Duckett over here at where he's loaded at Advanced Auto, and we asked to have him come in to tell us what he was going to do if he's granted the Class A. As we can see, the lights are still dim, and he hasn't done anything other than right there. The same thing applies to Mr. Pfefferman. He did come in and say he was going to do the parking lot, but I'm trying to wonder, is that parking lot his, or is he joint tenancy with somebody else? Because the parking lot is underwater. There are no lights out there. Is he going to install lights? I mean, this is a daycare center. So I'm just wondering what he's going to do. And this time, if he does say, I'd like to have it put in writing, that he can commit to that if we give him a Class A, because we got burnt before. So this time, I'm not looking to, myself, not looking to grant somebody something without something that you're going to do to enhance. The reason why you get a tax break is so you can bring people in and also enhance the property. So if he's not going to enhance it, if the parking lot, because we all know the parking lot is underwater. I don't know who the owners are. I'm sure, like I said, he only owns that one building, the rest is owned by somebody else, so I'm sure that they share whatever, and I don't know how you're going to get money out of the people that are where the cleaners are, whoever owns that facade right there, if they're going to pay any money, but those things need to be taken care of, and some lights need to be around that daycare center.
But I can tell you that he only owns the parking lot in front of him. There are different PIN numbers. And
About 40 feet of it or something like that.
yeah, it's he owns the very front of it, and it goes out 50 feet or something.
Yeah.
Again, that's all he owns. There's other parts that go to where Marion has his garage and things like that.
I'm talking about coming straight behind as you go past Popeyes.
No, he doesn't own that.
Okay, but then...
So, but the Class 8 is for where the old Bonnie's used to be.
Right,
So
I understand that.
connected. I can tell you that the reason he's trying to get this through, and he's constantly bugging us, is that he has talked to a tenant that used to run it from when it was first opened. And the lady who had it, she left and she moved, and she's come back and she's willing to take it back over again. So, again, his thing is they can't afford a rent that what's going to pay with the taxes so high on that property. That's why they're looking for a tax break.
Well, what about the lights?
So, again, I mean, I'll take a drive over and take a look if there's any lights at all.
No, and then there's no lights.
Parking lot's pitch black.
And then the parking lot is, I mean, you have to get to that.
Well,
What's going to happen with that? I mean, you have to get the parents or whoever that's dropped the kids off in the wintertime. When it rains, it's a pool out there.
I agree with you 100%, but at the present time, if you can't open a place where it can't open, why would I waste electricity to light up
No,
my
I'm saying,
parking lot?
I'm asking if it does. If it goes through, we give him a Class 8. I wanted him writing that he will do certain things to enhance it, because we didn't get that the last time. We just hoped that he would.
Yeah, again, we're sitting in a TIF, so I mean, we've got a little bit of areas to work with them. Again,
That was a TIF at one time right there too before it was dissolved, and I came to him and asked him to do certain things, and he wasn't receptive. And you can see now that he's not receptive at all, and it still looks the same way. And he did get a tax break. So, and I came to him and told him when there was a TIF before it was dissolved that you can apply for a loan for your TIF and have it, taken care of for your enhancing your property that is in the district. But he never came before us, and we granted the Class 8 then. I'm just asking now, this time that, first time that we did it, I would say made a mistake. This time I don't want to make the same mistake twice. I mean, if he's going to do something, then we need to find out who does own their property. Somebody owns it.
Yeah.
To fix that up. I mean, we need to go after them. If it's not Mr. Pfefferman, then it's somebody that owns it, and they need, because that's part of the village too, and something has to be done. Just not doing anything is not going to solve anything.
And again, I think we need to make sure that we're pretty clear. Even though, we talk about Duckett and we talk about Pfefferman owning the property, the tax incentives for a Class 8 are to go toward the businesses. So I think, just so we're clear, just like we just gave a Class 8 to the 700,000 square foot building. That's because when they go to rent that building out currently, without that tax 8, you're looking at $2.90 per square foot. By us giving them a Class 8, dropped it down to 85 cents. I think 75
They
85
did
cents
put
per
money in
square.
that building, man.
But, so-
They put money in there and they fixed that building up. I mean, that building was fixed up prior to him getting the Class 8.
So it was
when
already
they-
in Class 8, we renewed it.
Okay, but it was fixed up. It has nothing been done over here. There's nothing been done over here where Advance Auto, other than Advance Auto right there, and the lights are still the same. And then we're going to go here and do the same thing. We have a chance now to try to find out who all the players are before we even get into this, to find out who the players are and see if we can get something done. Because if it does happen, you still have to drive 200 or 300 feet before you get to the back. And those things have to be taken care of. That's all I'm asking.
Make sure you do that. Why not have your inspectors or building department go over if there's issues with the parking lot? They know
it,
citations.
but nobody knows who the owners are. But our building inspectors see, they know what's going on. They see that swimming pool out there.
We can find out.
Because that's what I want. I want to go after that. I mean, you're going to have a nice building. It's going to be probably renovated because it's going to have children in there, and there's no lights to let people come in at 6 o'clock in the evening. In the wintertime it's dark, and then if it rains, they got to come from a different way. They probably got to come from Jeffrey or something because they can't come through Popeye.
But if there's graffiti, or if there's anything,
No, I'm talking about graffiti. I'm talking about the
building or the parking lot, then somebody
Yeah,
should.
that's what I'm saying. That
issue
parking lot is
citations.
really bad. It really is, and that's all I'm saying is we encourage, which we do encourage businesses, but we still need to have somebody. I'm not one for, okay, you get it done later. Put it in writing. We've been burned too many times.
Why can't we do that, though? Why can't our inspectors go out there and list the
They can.
stuff that we got to do?
That's what I'm saying. They should.
That wasn't allowed with us down here. Because I asked that question.
To who?
Down here, at Plaza down here,
Advance Auto.
Advance Auto, when they went in there, him and I both asked, why can't we get a list of the violations and make sure those violations are corrected? I bet you it's in your minutes. I know we have that.
You can write violations. There's a couple things floating on here. As far as to who the right owner is, we can find out who the owner is.
Well, I know
Title search
who
will find
the
out.
owner is.
As far as violations, write the violations. Nobody from, at least my office, ever said not to write any violations. I think what you're probably thinking about is when it came for the tax incentive, can you control the other side of the parking lot? And the tax incentive is just issued to basically a third of the parking lot and where the auto zone is.
But it's the same owner.
It is, but it's different parcels.
I understand. I
It was
understand,
awarded-
right. And you're right.
We held back on even giving the tax
And you're
incentive
right.
ordinance to the county until I made sure I got a signed
But the same
agreement
owner
from
got the
AutoZone.
agreement, and we just asked the owner to do something, because we're giving him an incentive. We're giving him a tax break for the next 20 years or whatever. What is it that you're going to do to enhance that property that you just got? Now that you don't have to pay, say you pay $500,000 a year, now you don't have to pay but $300,000. What are you going to do? You put money back?
You can ask, but legally, you can't force it on the other side where the tax incentive has no impact on it.
But it's still his property.
It is his property, but it's also like if he lives down the street, say like you got to fix your gutters.
Okay.
It's attached to the tax incentive. They're not tied in. I know it's the same property owner.
Okay.
But they're different pins, different parcels.
Okay, but he,
So
but he got the tax break on that property.
like, we're not going to give this unless you clean up the whole area.
At least to put some lights. I mean, if you've seen Advanced Auto,
well,
where it's at, it's
Light
dim.
safety. Let's do a light safety.
The lights are on. They're not bright.
And they're the same they always been. And they're not. No, they were never out, Mayor. They were never out. They were dim. They were never out. I mean, you may have had a couple of banks that went out because they didn't know how to put the timer on.
Right.
But when they came on, I don't know if anybody, maybe it's just me, but that whole parking lot is dim.
But again, I think we need to make sure we're clear on one thing. I mean, you keep on saying we're giving a tax break
We are.
to duck it. But let me tell you something. The stores in those areas pay for their taxes in those buildings they're in. So the tax breaks went to Advance Auto. Because Advance Auto pays for the taxes in that strip mall right there.
But who owns the building?
They still have to pay the
Okay,
taxes.
okay, if that's the case, then look at Fairway. Look at the roof. Look what's going on. We've had roof problems in that building for the longest. I mean, it's just, Mary, it's just too much.
That's your inspectors.
Right.
They could.
But you go after him, and we even asked him to come in here and talk to us.
Again,
He's yet to do that.
With violations, I think you can write violations, but you can't write tickets for something that you don't like. You can't go in there and write a ticket because you think the lights are too dim. Because you're part of the ordinance review committee. Where is the ordinance and where can they write a ticket because the lights are too dim, in someone's opinion? Now, if you've got problems with a parking
That's
lot
safety.
with potholes,
That's safety.
okay,
Dim lights are safety.
but if the
But
lights
there's
are
ways to
on,
measure it. Same with sound.
right?
Illumination. There has to be so much illumination.
And where is it in the
So
ordinance?
we're just going to continue to give breaks, but we're not going to get anything.
No,
In the minutes.
We're not getting anything. What are we getting? I mean, at least fix what you have up and updated and upgraded. At least do that. I mean, putting the new facade in, they went and did all type of infrastructure, but that's so Advanced Auto could get in there. I understand that. I understand that. But underneath there's no the lights that even came on underneath are not on. And that's right there as you get in the landing right there across that whole area. Those lights aren't even on.
Yeah.
I mean, at least, and if we keep cutting costs.
I support 100% to write tickets for violations, but we can't write tickets for something that we'd rather, see something. I'd rather see those lights a little brighter. Well, do we have an ordinance that says they have to illuminate to a certain brightness? You get into noise ordinances. Usually it says your noise ordinance is at a certain dB level.
Yeah,
You can write tickets if it exceeds that.
So does Illinois Life Safety Codes. They have a certain wattage and stuff. You have to.
All right, well,
But you can't stand before a judge and say I wrote a ticket because the lights weren't bright enough, and when they get an attorney, and the attorney says, Your Honor, the village never shows us anywhere in an ordinance where it says it
then
has to be a
something
certain
needs to be there
brightness.
that because it's a safety issue, David. You come from Fairway to your car, which may be in the middle of the parking lot, it's dim.
I go to Fairway all the time.
Okay, then you know it's dim. That's bright enough for you? Is that bright enough for you?
Every time I'm there, I'm probably there once a night.
And
And
I'm
every
saying
time I walk in there, I look to see if the lights are on. I've been there when the lights have been off,
I'm saying-
and it's really dark.
No, I'm saying right now, is it bright enough for you? I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. To me, it's still dim. That parking lot is still dim, and I think it's just a matter of changing the bulb. Not asking to change a fixture. It's a matter of putting a 40 watt, taking that out, putting a 100 watt in.
I think with anything, with landlords, I mean, we've got, they used to sit in a TIF, and like you said, you try getting them to do stuff in the TIF, they didn't do it. I've got the same problem with the panels sitting at the other end, they're sitting at a TIF. You know, they tell me I don't have the money to put
They
in.
claim they're not in the TIF.
So, you know.
You were there. They claim they're not in the TIF.
I know. So we're
So as far as
looking into that.
Mr. Pfefferman, I'll let you know if we hear anything.
Yeah, sets the stance on.
Yeah.
I have a question to ask the attorney.
One thing I wanted to let you know, Dave, I was in the AutoZone, and I went into the back, and I was talking to the manager back there, and in the way back where the man door is and the garage door, so they can load their product in and out, when it was, warming up, that roof's leaking really bad. They had buckets throughout the backside of that building.
Fred mentioned that to me last Thursday when he came in.
Well, you know, Sherry said she's written multiple tickets.
I know
He's not in compliance, and he knows
We
it.
had him in court,
Yeah,
and he came
been
in,
written tickets.
raised all kind of hell, and the exact words he said, excuse me, ladies, next effing time you see me in this courtroom, I will be with my attorney, and I will sue the fuck out of this town. We don't do that. That came right from him after we just got done giving that stuff to him. And Sherry wrote him on a couple broken windows that was in one of the vacant unit, the roof, and I think she did something on the parking lot. Because I was sitting in the courtroom that night just listening to the cases. And he came in and he made that statement and he busted out of there, and Sherry said, oh, those would be the first one we sent over to the controllers.
Mm-hmm.
So he still hadn't paid for it. That's been about a year or so ago now.
Oh, it was found liable and it was sent to collections.
That's right.
Okay.
And come back to it. Anyway, I have a question, if I may, sir. Possible litigation. I don't know if that exists or not. In this other plaza down there, Beckett Plaza, they have putting up a new daycare next to the old currency exchange. I requested Sherry to shut it down under fire code violation because they have changed 3 times, and we only have the basic print. They're now they're making it hazardous to my firefighter. We have to go there in the middle of the night because now they got walls all over the place. We don't have no idea where. I'd like to meet with the mayor. And
Don't approve their business license until you get the updated plans.
they got to build it before they get the business license. Like,
Yeah, but they get-
we need to
But the
put them
plans
to
have
come
to be
on
approved
board.
by your building department.
Now, my problem I have is I need that. I found the ordinance that the Village of Saltville adopted a while back, 2006 building code. Sherry says no, we're working on 203. I don't have anything on 203. I have to find out what code you adopted for and enforce the fire code. If I can't, I have to go with the state of Illinois and the life safety code that will be under the 2000 life safety codes that the state of Illinois Fire Marshal Division has adopted for the life safety codes for the state of Illinois.
I'll just change your ordinance if we haven't already, that, you know, your building codes are automatically updated to the most recent building code. And you don't have to
I'm
amend
hoping that's what it says.
If we did it, it would say that. If not, I'll
But
I'll
my
have it
point
for
of
you
it
the
is,
next village board.
Yeah.
You and I got to look at this.
We'll have to take a look at it because I don't know, I think anyone has the right to go on their own property and make changes, but when they come in for their business license, they have to come in with the updated changes. And it has to be.
Well,
it
Fred
has to be
came.
approved.
Fred came in Friday. I called the woman that's in charge of it. I have a meeting set up with her, Fred, myself, and I invited Sherry. Her name is Jackson. Miss Jackson is the person in charge of that daycare center. She's already adopted about $45,000. She said she gave to this man down at the plaza to redo this entire daycare. My biggest concern, gentlemen, and Mary might be angry with the fire department, but we don't have it current. They're talking about 12 to 15 infants in that building. We're not going to sign off on babies in there. That's the last thing I'm going to do is pull out that babies in there. And they do not meet this, even this print here does not meet the standard fire code. That's the reason I said I'd like to meet. But,
They
you
have
and
to meet fire code.
and the fire codes we got present now, as soon as I found out which one it is, it was 206. Well, 206 might mandate the sprinkler system in there. I don't know.
There's no sprinkler system in there?
Oh,
Well, no.
No.
Well, our village shouldn't have ordinances if you have to have.
yeah, but this
You
is,
don't?
But this is
it's
isn't this a fall under the fact that they change?
Well, I've talked to the
Because now you're
superintendent.
changing the schematics of
Can I
the building.
discuss this,
You have
by the
to
way,
have-
before I go any farther?
Let's
Is it legal?
talk about it out of here.
Grandfather doesn't matter. I mean,
Okay,
that's-
simple
it's been
statement.
renovated. It's
Simple
being
statement
renovated. So
is
it's
that
being
they don't
renovated.
meet the fire code at this
At the
time.
present time, they don't
Okay,
meet the fire.
simple statement. Okay.
And we don't have water. We don't have the water
Water
supply to
No, there's no water hook up to the building.
water supply to the building to supply a sprinkler system.
Got to run a lamp somewhere else.
That I know it here, and knowing who we're dealing with, we will have a litigation problem. Trust me.
All right.
But I really would like to put some time in your book.
Yeah, let's talk about this out of here.
And I'd be glad to talk to any one of the trustees separate on it.
All right. Before we move on, anything else? Okay, Mike?
Okay, our little project with the dispatch center. Last time we were together, I was kind of directed. We talked about going out and getting some pricing for possibly centralizing your dispatch services. So we sent out a bunch of FOIAs to different communities, and then we got some responses back to contact the dispatch center or centers that they're contracting with. But Trustee Myers, you're familiar, but there's with a lot of these, I'm sure, but there's some bigger dispatch centers. One, and it's interesting to see how many towns have gone this route in the past, not just
Quite a
5
few.
years, 20 years. Southwest Central Dispatch, I'll just read them off quickly. But you have Chicago Ridge, and it's also interesting, they're not all located next to each other, which
Right.
shows that you could be dispatched from anywhere. Chicago Ridge, Dixmoor, Palos Heights, Palos Hills, Palos Park, Posen, Robbins, Worth, Willowbrook, Lamont, Clarendon Hills, Burr Ridge.
What was the one before Burr Ridge?
Oh, you want to write all these?
I was just trying to.
What was the one before Burr Ridge?
Clarendon Hills.
It'll be in a minute.
Okay.
So they're all over. Then you have
That's
fire
one dispatch center.
That's
Right.
all within the Southwest.
Central
Central
Dispatch.
Dispatch.
But those towns are all over.
Right.
They also, that same dispatch center does Palos Park Fire Protection District, Palos Heights Fire Protection District, Frankfurt Fire Protection District, New Lenox Fire Protection District, and Manhattan Fire Protection District.
I thought Frankfurt is on its own.
Frankfurt is.
Oh, the fire protection district, not
They
Frankfurt.
dispatch for 7 different towns.
Okay, that's central. Is that the only two?
That's Southwest Central.
That's not
There's another one,
It's
Ecom.
huge.
Eastcom, yes.
Oh, Eastcom.
EastCom.
Well, I got Ecom, it's
Yeah,
East.
that's same thing.
East, yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing.
There's Flossmoor, Glenwood, Hazelcrest, Homewood, Riverdale, South Holland. Those are the original members, and then there's a lot more now.
Really?
Fire protection districts, yeah, that I'm still waiting
That
for.
Eastcom. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That Eastcom has got.
right. So I spoke with some people at Ecom and then the other dispatch. To get the specific contracts with these different communities, you have to get it from those communities. So I have FOIAs out, but I won't get them, for a week, maybe 2 weeks. They'll ask for extensions. But the rule of thumb, what I'm getting from these dispatch centers is the cost ranges, typically it's about $35 per call.
Oh, okay.
All right, so that's like the rule of thumb. You can negotiate a little bit less, but if you look at their insurance cost and volume, that's really what they break
Okay.
in. She wouldn't give that to me in writing. So then I looked at how much or what's the volume here in Sauk Village. So I just got that today. Last year, you guys had 18,200 calls. All right, between fire, police, and right.
Okay.
So, yeah, fire, police, and ambulance.
54.
So 18.2. So you're looking at $35 a call. You're about 600, a little over
Almost, yeah,
$600,000.
620, something like that. Okay.
Right. If you were to contract out
Right.
with one of these dispatch
Okay.
services, again, I gave you the information last time what it's costing the village to
Right.
have your own dispatch center, and just to go over it again, you're about $520,000 just in pay and health care and uniform allowance. Then you also have the equipment, the maintenance of the equipment, and your equipment will have to be replaced in the next 2 years. and you also have the federal mandate to be able to
The text one.
the text messaging. The mandate was supposed to be done by December. It's been pushed out. You might be able to buy time until you get your next equipment, but your equipment's going to be, last time it was 1.5 million. I gotta imagine it's going to be 1.5 million also.
Okay.
So that's you're looking at some serious.
Now, but we still owe. We still owe.
You still owe on your equipment.
Yes. Now, even if we get rid of it, we still got to pay that off. Correct.
Yes.
Can you sell it?
Nickel on
you're
the
not going
dollar.
to find too many people that are going to buy outdated
No.
equipment
Now-
when you have a mandate coming. So
Now-
you're looking at having to pay for the equipment you currently have, and then within a year and a half, 2 years, getting new equipment. It's like buying a new car when you have, your
Still
old
gotta
car's
pay for the old one.
not even paid for.
Right. You
And
still got to pay.
I was in that position in high school and college. It's not a good position to
It's
be
called
in.
upside down.
We've all been there.
But let me ask you a question. Who does Linwood have?
Linwood is Linwood. And then Linwood takes care of East Hazelcrest.
I didn't get Linwood. I don't know. But we've also reached out. There's a new dispatch center coming into play in Calumet Park, which I'll tell you guys, we represent Calumet Park also, but it's a new state-of-the-art dispatch center that's starting. It'll be open for use on May 1st. They're doing Cal Park's operations.
Well, who does Cal City use?
No, Cal Park.
No, I'm
Cal
asking.
City? I don't know who Cal City. I think Cal City has their own. I could be wrong. I'll have to,
Did you get a price on Cal Park?
Cal
the
Park, I
estimate?
do. And it's not Cal Park that's running it. It's actually Kurt's
Oh,
Ambulance.
Kurt's.
They also do. They're starting up the dispatch, and they have some experience because they currently do dispatch in the village of Lyons and some other areas. So I did get specific quotes from them, which I was running from a deposition downtown, so I don't have the proposals for you. I can.
find out what Linwood is also using.
I will, but I'll send it to you.
If they're their own, I mean, maybe I don't know. It may be cheaper. If they
Well, I'll find out, but I'm just going based on what those other dispatch
Yes.
centers are saying.
Yes.
It's about $35 a call.
Yes,
I don't know if they
understand
would
that.
be that much cheaper. They might be, or they might be in that ballpark.
Okay.
But I can just tell you from Kurt's, because they're a new center that's coming up, and they're going to have room to have 10 to 12 communities in their center. They're open to anybody going there. They'll give you a tour of the location. It's brand spanking new. They gave two proposals. One, first option, they would be willing to send their people here and use your equipment. Thereby, you wouldn't have to pay any employees. You wouldn't have to pay insurance. You wouldn't have to pay any overtime, workers' comp.
Can we
in
do
effect, they would be.
Can we do that?
Yeah, I'll
So there
go
are
through
people
it.
here that use their equipment.
Use your equipment.
Until it's no longer.
Right, and this is option one.
Use our equipment until it's
Right.
option.
They would
Okay.
fully staff your dispatch center. They
Yeah.
pay for all expenses, their uniforms, they have all the training, your equipment, and then when your equipment is obsolete, you'd have to go and get new equipment. They'd be willing to do that for $264,000 a year,
Wow.
which is about half.
A third.
Well, just at your labor costs, it'd be about half, and then you wouldn't have the other costs.
Health and welfare, all that.
Right,
What's-
and
what's-
legal fees. And
what's
you
the
wouldn't
second
have any.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have any grievances. You wouldn't
Right.
have any of that stuff.
What's the second option?
The second option is to go with their dispatch center completely, where they're housed there, use their employees. Your dispatch center, you would try to find a buyer for your equipment, or you do whatever you want and use it for storage or I don't know what.
CD. So
But the second option,
Goes with the A-Trex.
if you went with them, it would be $285,000 a year.
that's 220, 260 with
Right.
20,000.
Wait, 285,000
Right.
for full service at their facility?
Yes.
That's a no-brainer.
No call volume dependency.
No call volume, doesn't matter how many calls, and the better part, it's a 3-year contract, capping your cost at 3.5%. After, I believe it's after the 3rd year.
Capping to
Now,
3.5%.
And the option, you'd have an option for an additional 3 years, if the village's choice at the end of the 3 years. And so every year, the cost would go up a maximum of 3.5%.
Yeah, I was going to say they can't juice it up just
No.
because now we're dependent on them because we no longer have the
Correct.
department.
Right.
But my question would be, I mean, I'd rather if it's just if those were the two options, I'd rather go there because bringing them here, we may have a litigation problem.
Well, I'll get you the this proposal. Obviously, I apologize I didn't get it to you, but they have hired a 23-year dispatch supervisor. The supervisor has 23 years of experience. They'll have 24/7 oversight. All of them are certified. They're CPA certified. They're EMD certified, LEED certified, NIMS compliant, Enbridge certification, along with APCO certification, whatever that is.
They had that much cheaper than everybody.
I think it's something that obviously, seriously, you guys would have to
Yeah,
look
I mean,
at.
I don't want to.
It's a perfect time for it because although
brand
you
new,
just
just started-
negotiated the
they just
contract,
started.
it's up to expire at the end of April.
And then
They're ready to go May
May
1st,
1st.
the next day. To work it out, if there's some lag time or if they needed a couple extra weeks, they would probably send their personnel here to use your equipment and then go online with them whenever you need
I'm kind
to
of.
do
I
it.
mean, really, if we get ready to go in negotiations or whatever,
We have to negotiate. We have to negotiate in good faith. So when you go and negotiate, we're going to get the proposal from the union.
You can find out how much it is per person,
Sure.
and then you can break it down per person.
Well, I know what it costs
Per
to run your
right,
dispatch
right.
center.
And then you just break it
So
down.
they're going to come in with their proposals. They might say, we don't want any wage increase. We want this. We want uniform allowance, another $300 a year. You don't know what unions are going to ask.
You can't tell.
But then we give them this. It's like, you guys
Right, you
have
can't
to meet
touch.
this.
They can't touch that.
Or
They
you
can't
beat
touch
it.
that. No.
No, they
That's
can't
it.
touch that. But
So-
but I would not want to have it here though, because then they may say, well, you got rid of us, and
But it's through negotiations.
They're
So
not- yeah, they would
by
no longer be
the end of the
employees.
contract, they're going to have to either meet this or beat it if you elect to go with.
if we elect to go.
current
But I would still like to know
dispatch.
what Linwood has since they're.
I'll
right
find
there.
out. I can't imagine that they're cheaper than this.
What?
No.
280?
That's a no.
I mean,
That's
you know,
cheap.
but then again, I'm always
with no
looking at you
limitations
get what you
on
pay
the
for it too.
cost.
So I mean,
And they're people 100% certified.
yeah,
They're all
you get what you pay
certified.
for. So I mean, but if everybody else is charging
But if you'd like, I would
600,000,
suggest
A field trip.
a field trip out there and checking it out.
okay,
Uh,
I have no problem with
You know.
that.
Did you look into that, okay? You ready?
I just got it today, and I was
Oh.
glancing through it, so I got the options. But,
But
they have
it's not open yet, you said, right?
they have all their
So-
No, he said, but you could
their
schedule.
insurance
There's a fifth
coverages, and
I can go whenever
I
you want.
have 10 of them
We
in
have
my
no meetings
office.
in April.
I'll send them over.
Who's the person you talk to from Kurtz?
Well, it was. I don't even have a cover letter, or maybe I do.
I think one thing we all talked about is get onto one of these early, and I think we're pretty early.
Well, yeah, I
That's
mean,
why-
it's just that
that's why you get the
it's
best
just a
price
little
because you're
scary.
one of the
But
first
then
ones.
again, they're starting out brand new, so they're trying to get, just like anything else, your business
Well,
starting
they're trying to
out.
get some people
You're
in
trying to get
there.
people in so you can, you
Yes.
can grow from there. But
That's a good deal.
But it would save
That's a
you.
no-brainer,
It would save
because
you
they-
hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Well, yeah.
and then you get rid of the headaches that go along with having your own dispatch center as far as personnel, and overtime scheduling, and
Yeah. Sounds good.
yeah, whenever you,
But the timing's good, so-
whenever you want, I'm free to go whatever day, except for Friday evening.
But again, we've got
Okay.
this now where when we go before the union, we
Bold
can
it.
say, what's the old saying, what, meet it or beat
meet
it?
it or beat it.
Meet it or beat it.
Hey,
And they'll look at this, they'll caucus, and then, for them to meet that, they would have to
Cut their salary in half.
They would have to waive insurance. They would have to,
That's not-
but like you said, I want to see and make sure we don't have, because it does happen, you have some writing that you can't really see, and then it's, but that's your job.
right.
to look at the small
The
print,
fine print, yeah.
the fine print. So I sounds good to me because the towns are doing that. The
Well,
towns,
that's what,
yeah,
it was interesting. I'll get Linwood and the other
Yeah,
towns, but
yeah.
you see,
yeah, they're doing
some
it.
towns have a lot of money. You have a Burr Ridge, you have Clarendon Hills.
Oh well,
you have,
they're paying a lot.
Yeah,
They're
they've been
paying,
doing it for
they're
decades.
paying big time taxes.
So is this again
Like I am.
confidential, stays in here until we talk about it again? So
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
not to leave the
You don't want
room.
this out.
I'm just making a statement so we all on the same page.
You don't want this out.
No, we don't want this out.
Ooh.
Okay.
Once we sit down with the union,
Mm-hmm.
it will be out,
Yeah, but not now.
Until we sit down with you, because again.
Are you going to say that off the top?
I think we sit
Right
down-
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You going to say it right away?
We get their proposal, and then
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to tell them right away.
Re-
You're just going to get their proposal, right?
Get their proposal. Don't reschedule the next negotiation session to say, hey, this is where we're at. We're in dire straits.
Right.
We have this
Right.
proposal. Let's meet next week and tell us if you guys can meet it.
And
If not, then you have till the end of April.
And again, that's the key point right there, is because their contract ends the end of April. This is something that we get them to the table, start the discussions, and they have to the end of April.
We're going to save money right away.
And if there's anarchy, they're going to claim that, then we're out of here right away.
Oh, well, then
We'll have it where Kurtz will be able to come in immediately.
You know,
So
the-
you're never without any
In case
dispatchers.
you have
You mean if
flu or something.
they strike?
Yeah.
Right.
They
But
can't
they
can't strike, but
by
they
law. They
But they can
cannot
have the
strike.
blue flu. where
They can all
people
get
start
sick.
calling in, and then people don't show up, and then it's like, now we don't have dispatchers. It's it's a big PR thing. It's like, oh my gosh, nobody's getting the calls through because there's no dispatchers. We didn't strike. I'm sick. She's sick. He's sick.
I'm taking vacation and.
Kurtz is
Guess you got to be
pretty
approved.
big out in the south suburbs. They are not only dispatch, they also will bring in your paramedics and your ambulance and
That's what Steger uses, right?
well, that's who Kurtz.
Well, they have a big ambulance
and then,
service.
that, and then they also do it with paid fire department. They bring in paid firemen too, the same thing. And a lot of towns that had to pay, like Richmond Park's looking to, not Richmond, but Matson looking to bring in Kurtz after they laid that bunch off over there. So you'll see a couple of Kurtz paid firemen coming in over there. You don't like it too good, but Patty's pretty good, and Kurtz, she gave us our proposal when we started a long time ago, like an ambulance.
7 o'clock.
Okay.
All right.
That's why I came in.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions on that? Or I will shoot an email out on when possible field trip will go. Get a date with a couple dates with times, and then you guys just let me know when you can do it, and then I'll let them know, and then you just go for the tour.
Maybe we can get 2 dates, maybe one night evening, maybe in the middle of the week, and then we can do maybe a Saturday.
Okay.
And the trustees can figure out what nights they can make it available.
Yeah.
I think Friday evening and Saturday is probably the best for all of us, right?
I have to excuse myself,
Right.
training I'm doing tonight.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Great.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right.
I'll be there.
Ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.